In this video, I challenged myself to study two John Singer Sargent's paintings, but instead of oils, I used acrylic markers. I tried to capture the atmosphere, the colors, and explore his style and technique. My name is Kate. I've been drawing and painting for over 6 years, and I love experimenting with styles, art supplies, and art challenges. Sargent is one of my favorite artists, and I absolutely adore his portraits. For a long time, I avoided studying his work because I don't paint with oils. And then I thought, why not adapt the process and use the mediums I love? And that's what I'm going to do today, so let's see how it goes. And by the way, this is the last video I'm going to film in this lovely studio. I'm going to miss this place, so let's get started. Probably this book was the main reason that triggered the challenge. It's packed with amazing art and stories behind the masterpieces. I'm still reading it and savor every page. For a better understanding of his style, I also watched other artists studying his paintings. Watching and listening to them was a great way to glean insight. I decided to study two paintings, so I picked two elegant fashion portraits, but with different vibes and color palettes. One is soft and delicate, and the other one is more dramatic and vivid. I already had two sketches ready, and I used two marker sets, both from Arrtx. I started with the portrait of Elizabeth Epsworth Swinton, who was a great-grandmother of the famous actress Tilda Swinton. Elizabeth was a professional singer, and her mother commissioned the portrait as a wedding gift. At that time, Sargent was a fashionable artist in high demand, and people were lining up to have them paint their portraits. It's mind-blowing how productive he was, completing one masterpiece after another. As I learned from the book, he painted all the time, even when hosting a party. What a person! My goal for this drawing session was to get a better understanding of his approach and find something I could incorporate into my future works. I knew right from the start it wouldn't be easy. First of all, look at this opulent dress. The shimmering, translucent fabric and satin seemed so overwhelming. I wasn't sure how to approach it, and another challenge was finding the right hues and values, because acrylic markers don't blend easily and my palette was limited, even though I own plenty of markers. And finally, the face. I was so glad I chose this size of sketchbook because at first I was planning to use my go-to 8x5" in size art creation sketchbook, and even though I opted for a bigger sketchbook, the face turned out so small, and that only added to the difficulty. Please give this video a like and leave a comment. I appreciate your support, guys, very much, so thank you. The only way to make the face look detailed and well rendered was to use colored pencils. And that's actually my favorite combo, markers and pencils. It occurred to me too late that I should have probably done one close-up portrait instead of two full-sized studies. That would have allowed me to focus more on the face and practice the soft transitions and subtle shifts in value that make Sargent's faces look so captivating. His brushwork in the face and skin is much smoother and more precise, closer to the classic academic painting approach compared to the painterly effect in other areas, which are more like what Impressionists aim for. Sargent's mentor, Carlos Duran, taught his students to express the maximum with the minimum of means. That means using a minimal number of brushstrokes to imply form, texture, and movement, rather than rendering a hyper-realistic image. This approach really appeals to me, but it's one thing to say it and another to apply it in real life. It definitely takes time to learn how to simplify things in the right way. Here I moved on to the most challenging part, the dress. It's such a good thing acrylic markers allow layering. What I did was apply the colors, check how they looked, and if something felt off, I just went over it with another shade. You can't completely cover the previous color, but that's what makes it more interesting. It lets you create new shades. If some colors looked too bright, I toned them down with a gray marker. I tried to work on the whole piece evenly, and when I felt like I was running out of steam refining the dress, I switched to the chair. And I'm glad I did, because once the armchair looked more elaborate, the whole drawing changed. It felt like the ugly stage had passed and I could finally focus on refining the details. The entire time I kept the original picture in sight, constantly comparing the colors, shapes, and values. When I looked up the portrait online, I noticed subtle differences between the photos. In some, her dress looked more like purple, and in others it was more like blue. And I had no idea which one was closer to the original, so I went with blue, mostly because it was more convenient since I have more blues in my marker set palette. For this piece, I also decided to be careful with blacks and pure whites because the original painting doesn't have such high contrast. The darkest area and the only place I should have used black was where the dress and the chair meet, creating an occlusion shadow, which is usually the darkest one. If I wanted to stay more or less true to the painting, I had to keep that in mind and be very subtle with other shadows. Working on the background was so fun. I wanted to suggest the same texture as in the original, and with quick sweeping motions I applied lots of colors. The key to this effect was working fast and using the next marker before the previous layer dried. That way the colors could blend a bit, and I love the result. By doing that, I was risking mixing the shades not only on paper but also on the marker tips, which could slightly change their color. And what I noticed though, if the values are pretty close, it doesn't affect the markers much, so I'm not planning to stop doing that. The background turned out quite different, but I love it. I love it. Actually, a lot of things look quite different from the original, but I'm still so proud and happy with my drawing. This drawing session was totally worth it. It's always been challenging for me to draw or paint different fabrics, but each practice brings me closer to the moment when I'll finally feel confident enough to draw any texture even without a reference. Though honestly, I don't mind references. I use them all the time, so let me know what you think of this drawing. Do you like it? Let's move on to the next study. If the first painting was a challenge, this one was twice as challenging. It's just not my thing to work with such an intense dark palette and strong contrast. I'm definitely a pastel style girl. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention why I used two sets of markers. The Simptap series from Arrtx is perfect for larger scale drawings like this one. And by the way, this video isn't sponsored. I did get these sets from Arrtx for a review, but that was a long time ago and I still use their products because those are genuinely good quality. So if you've tried any other brands, let me know if there's any you'd recommend, because I actually never tried any other acrylic markers and I think it would be fun to compare them sometime. let's get back to the drawing. As before, I started by blocking in the local colors of each object. That's the simplest step, but such an important one. We perceive colors differently depending on their surroundings, and it took me years, literally years, to really understand that. It's not that I never heard the advice about working evenly on the whole piece. I heard it a million times, but for some reason I just ignored it. And I could have saved myself so much time if I had applied that earlier. Oh. While working on the background, I noticed I didn't have enough darks. All the reds I have were too vivid, and most of the browns weren't dark enough either. So I tried blending black with other markers, but it didn't work well. I knew I would need the help of my colored pencils. I decided to come back to that area later. If you look up information about Sargent's style, you'll probably find in almost every source that he was really good at guiding the viewer's eye through the masterful use of hard and soft edges in just the right places. Hard, more defined edges draw attention to the focal point, while soft ones wrap the forms and create a sense of movement. That gives the illusion that the artist captured a fleeting moment rather than depicting a model who posed for hours or even days. In my opinion, edges in paintings are really worth studying, and they are a powerful tool that is often overlooked. If you watched my channel for a while, you've probably seen my cute little art studio I'm so proud of. The thing is, I am moving out of this apartment, and for the next few months, I won't be moving into a new one. I'm about to go on a trip through multiple countries, and I am strongly determined to keep filming and drawing while traveling. It's a bittersweet time for me. I feel sad to say goodbye to my dream room, but on the other hand, I'm so excited about 3 months of traveling and exploring new places. So what I mean is, stay tuned for more videos from new destinations. And here I am again, navigating through the intricacies of the fabric. I went through hell, honestly, especially with the sleeves. I just couldn't achieve the same silky, luminous pink effect. I went a bit overboard with my palette, adding every color I had. Now, when I look at Sargent's painting again, I think, how on earth did I even see all those colors? Don't get me wrong, I don't think I failed it. Quite the opposite actually, I'm proud. I can see that I got the values right, the way the fabric folds and flows. I think I really nailed that part. After taking a break and coming back with new ideas, I returned to the background and enthusiastically improved it with pencils. Doesn't it look good? I spent time looking closely at my favorite artist's paintings and learned a lot more about his style. Let me know if you also do master studies, and if so, what your process looks like. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know which one you like more, and see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.